In today's session, we will try to discuss about the FI to MM integration in SAP S/4HANA. Okay, so for ECC, you have learned a lot of things. What are those things? P2P mainly deals with the procure to pay conditions things. Okay, between organization to vendor. Okay, and at the same time in SAP, P2P is the important business process and it consists of the some of the following steps. What are those steps? Material requirement planning, vendor selection, request for quotation, purchase requisition, purchase order, goods receipt, invoice receipt, and payment to the vendor. Okay, suppose you can just take the example of one thing, that is any Tata Steel, or else shampoos like Head and Shoulders, anything you can take it. Related to the steel products, related to the uh, metal products, related to the electronic products, anything you can take. So if you want to make a finished goods, and you should have the raw material, right? So when you want to have the raw material, there will be a process. Okay, what is that process? P2P is the process. And in that P2P, we do have the material requirement planning. Material requirement planning refers to the technique of using a projected manufacturing production schedule to figure out what supply materials you will need and when you will need them. So for this, the meaning is whenever you want to have the material from the particular vendor, automatically we should have the proper production schedule. Okay, so without having the production schedule, you cannot buy the raw material, right? So this material requirement planning type controls the MRP procedure, pricing, and material valuation. Okay, these things are mandatory first of all. And now, once you are very much okay with that material requirement plannings, with the help of purchasing departments and purchasing organization and purchasing group, okay, they will going to select the vendor. And vendor selection is the most important step in P2P. So with the help of obtained quotation from source of, from the source, like purchasing group, purchasing department and purchasing organization, and by comparing them, okay, based on the prices, based on the quantity, based on the quality, so you will compare them, right? So based on their comparing, okay, comparing values, comparing materials, comparing quantity, anything, okay, vendors are going to select it. Okay, vendors are going to select. And once these vendors are selected, we will go for the request for quotation. Okay, so you can just go to the Word document, not the Word document, that is Notepad file document, all of you. You can just able to have, you need to get the knowledge from that material. Why? Because each and every step that I have mentioned in that material is very clear. Okay, they will just ask you the process and they will just ask you the account determination for the P2P in any SAP S/4HANA versions and also ECC versions. Okay, but the most important thing that we have for the P2P is purchase requisition. Every organization, they may have different types of departments, and departments may require certain material or services, and in that department some of the people will going to work, right? So employee belonging to that particular department, he needs to raise or she needs to raise purchase request. Okay, so purchase request needs to have the information like name, what is the vendor name, and what is the material name, and how much quantity that they want, and what is the expected due date of delivery and expected price. And purchase request, you know it very well, may also needs to be approved by the department, that we can call it as a purchasing department head. Okay, so before initiating the approval of the finance department, and once this finance department approves the purchase request, okay, purchase group creates the purchase order, okay, for purchasing department to act on it. Okay, they will just give the instructions to the end user, is raise the purchase order for this particular materials and all, and they will act on it. You know it very well, right? And the next one is purchase order. And once the purchase order is created, okay, purchasing department initiates the procurement process. Okay, so, and this purchasing department gives the purchase order to vendor and supplies the goods and bills the company accordingly. Okay, see, once the purchase order is confirmed, and they will understand that okay, this much quantity that this organization needs. Okay, um, then this purchase order needs to have information like order type. Okay, you have seen the things, right? Item, okay, materials, and vendor, and quantity, purchase price, and delivery date, terms of payments, anything. Okay, you can have the plant, you can have the storage location, you can have the Incoterms, you can have the multiple options that you have. With the help of all these options, you can able to create the purchase order using transaction code ME21N. Okay, so till that purchase order, accounting entries are not generated. Okay, those entries will not be generated. Why? Because it is just a purchase order. Okay, what next? So that is goods discipline. When the organization, I mean, this vendor receives the purchase order, right? And they will estimate the quantity and they will estimate the material category. Okay, based on that, they will going to send the goods to your organization. Okay, organization plans or anything, storage locations will be there, right? So you can able to storage the raw material in that storage location, right? And in this goods receipt, when the organization receives the goods, okay, goods receipt is posted in SAP using transaction code MIGO. You have seen it very well. And the accounting entry will be raw material inventory account entered to the GRAR clearing account creditor. If you practice with the entries, you can able to get the entries. Okay. And the next one is invoice receipt. When the organization receives the bill from the vendor, okay, when the organization receives the bill from the vendor, okay, and invoice receipt is posted in SAP using transaction code MIRO. Okay, so that is goods receipt or invoice receipt account creditor to the vendor account creditor. Okay, so previously we have used the FB60 invoice. Okay, so to post the invoice receipt, but the thing is that first we need to have the particular process, purchase order process, goods receipt process, and the next one is invoice receipt. And what is the thing? The next one is payment to vendor. Vendors needs to be paid on time. An organization may have a huge volume of vendors and due or overdue items for this material buying process. Okay, so for this thing, SAP has introduced the one functionality that is automatic payment program. Okay, if there are some of the invoices like 10 invoices or 20 invoices, they can able to clear all these things with manually. Okay, but if they have lakhs of invoices, I mean lakhs of due invoices and all, okay, they should go for the exact automatic payment programs. Okay, so you can able to do multiple payments okay, with the help of automatic payment program run using transaction code F110. Okay, so you can able to do the payments to the different types of vendors, and you can able to do the payments to the different types of company codes, vendors, and all. Okay, at a time you can able to pay it. Okay, this is the way you can able to do the payments to the vendors. Okay, so when you pay the amount to the particular vendor account data to the bank reconciliation, sorry, bank clearing account creditor, right? Yes. Okay, so vendor receives the money, right? So once we receive the bank statement, okay, see, your partner bank will pay the amount to the particular vendor, and once we receive the bank statement from the bank statement is loaded into the SFE, and automatic reconciliation will be happened. So the automatic reconciliation, how it will be happened? So based on the accounting entries, and we need to create the GL accounts, and we need to map those information into the SFE system. So based on that mapping, you will going to have one accounting entry. What are those accounting entries? So bank clearing account data to the main bank account creditor. Okay, so these things are mandatory, and at the same time, you know it very well. So till that purchase order, there are no accounting entries that will be generated uh, in the FI2, sorry, in the SAP system. So a goods receipt FI2 integration will be happen. Why? Because accounting entries will be generated. So when goods received, material document will be generated, and at the same time, FI document will be generated. I have already shown you in the ECC classes. Okay, so based on some factors, FATMM integration will be happen using transaction code OBWise. What are those factors? All of you. Okay, based on the valuation classes, based on the valuation modifier, based on the transaction key, it will be happen, right? So see how this information is passed to the particular vendor, and how the communications are going on. Okay, based on the movement types and based on the material types. Okay, so what are those movement types? Suppose you will enter the goods receipt. So the goods receipt to movement type is 101. Okay, you will issue the goods to the production order. Okay, so what is the movement type? 261. You will issue the, I mean, goods issued from the particular vendor to the organization, and the movement type will be 261. If you have any scrapping goods, and if the material is not at all good and you want to return it back, okay, to the particular vendor address, okay, we will have the movement type, that is 551. And when you, I mean, when you get the goods from the vendor, or when you deliver the goods to the particular customers, automatically we will have the movement type, that is 601. And if you have the initial stock, okay, and you will raise the purchase orders, right? So based on which movement type? 601, sorry, 561 movement type, we will have the initial upload to stock. See, all these material movements in happens with respect to the movement type only. Okay, material movement is different, and material movement type is different. Try to understand the point. And based on we have the valuation classes, right? So what are those valuation classes? Every material will have valuation class field, all of you. Okay, so that could be raw materials, semi-finished goods, and finished goods. Suppose you are buying the raw material from the vendor, right? That should have the valuation classes. Okay, what are those valuation classes? So if it is a trading goods, okay, 3100 is the trading goods. 3000 is the raw material. 7000 is the semi-finished goods. 7900 is for the semi-finished goods. 7920 is for the finished goods. Okay, so you can able to have number of valuation, all of you, but don't worry. But the thing is that you should have the proper valuation classes. Okay, and based on which parameters these things are generating. I mean, like goods receipt and invoice receipt and payment to vendors, like this. Okay, based on the transaction key only, right? And this transaction key is used to control the storage or filling the document and assignments of documents. Okay, so what are those transaction keys? You have seen it very well. For the raw material inventory management, you use BSX. For the price differences, you have used the PRT. For the goods receipt or invoice receipt declaring account, you have used the WRX. For the offsetting entry for the stock postings, that we can call it as a cost of goods sold account. Okay, we have used the GBP, and for the freight charges, we have used the FR1, FR2, FR3. Like to see what are the freight charges that will be applicable, we can able to add it. And based on the valuation modifier also, the process will be generated, right? And this valuation modifier is also known as valuation grouping code. In OBYC transaction code, in that account determination, you can able to observe the valuation grouping code that we can call it as a valuation modifier. And we can activate this valuation modifier using transaction code OMWM. Okay, so with the help of valuation modifier, with the help of a transaction key, with the help of valuation classes, you can able to assign the GL account that is part of the FI. Okay, so then next we can able to maintain the valuation grouping code using transaction code OMWD. Okay, for valuation area as plant or company within the chart of accounts. And it is mandatory to maintain valuation modifier as valuation area cannot be assigned to account determination. Just try to understand the point. Even if you have one valuation area, that should be assigned to the valuation modifier. Okay, so without giving the valuation modifier, you cannot assign the GL accounts. Please try to understand the point. And what are those material types? Okay, so material type is very important, all of you. Why? Because when you are posting one thing, I mean, when you are getting one thing from the particular vendor, okay, quantity should be updated and value should be updated. Okay. Based on what? Based on the material types only, it will be the possible thing. Okay. So each material should assign material type in material master records. It is used to update whether the changes made in quantity are quantity updated in the material master records and a value updated in the material master records. And whatever the changes in value also updated in stock. ROH raw material, HALV semi-finished goods, HAVA trading goods, FERT finished goods. See, whatever the things that you want to have based on the client requirement, you can add it. Okay, these things are mandatory for the each and every thing. Okay, and the main important thing here for the material master records. Okay, in material master data and accounting tab 1, we have the valuation class field and price controlling field. So in price control field, you do have different types. One is standard things, one is moving average things. Okay, so you know it very well. Standard is usually used for semi-finished material or finished material, right? And moving average is used for raw material or external purchases. The price of raw material may vary based on the market to market, right? And because of this reason, we will use the moving average price. But most of the clients, they will going to use the standard price, right? Because they will have the agreement with the vendor, right? So that is why they will not going to move with any vendor, okay, until that agreement is passed away. Okay, so what is the difference between valuation modifier and general modifier? So in interview point of view, you are going to get a lot of questions. Okay, like this, the difference between valuation modifier and the general modifier, difference between transaction key and movement type, difference between movement type and material types, and difference between what is this thing? Transaction key and also valuation classes. So they will have a lot of points, all of you. So Don't neglect it. Whatever the theory explanation that I am telling you, okay, that is based on the interview preparation only. Okay, it is not about the things that we do for the different types of vendors and also customers. Anything. Okay, it is just a process. They will just ask you the process. They will not going to ask you the configurations. Okay, what you have done. And they will not going to ask you any material things, configurations and all. They will just ask you the question on the OBYC account determination. Okay, so those things are mandatory. And at the same time, okay, so this is about the complete theory explanation for the SAP FI to MM integration. Okay, so see, without having these complete configurations for the SAP FI to MM, okay, we will not going to post the any entry. Why? Because material ledger is very, very important. What do you mean by material ledger, all of you? See, material ledger is used to control the material status. Okay, so if the stock is available, so that should be informed to the particular SAP system, right? Based on which parameters? Based on the material ledger status parameters only, you can able to do it. Okay, so you should activate the material statuses. That is the main difference between ECC and SAP S/4HANA. Without having all these differences, you cannot configure the um, configurations. Okay, material management things are very, very important. And at the same time, the things that we do for the FI to MM integration, that is completely related to the accounts payables, right? All of you. So they will just link the all these things with the accounts payables, and based on the accounts payables and all, once we completed the invoice receipt document, and we will just pay the amount to the particular vendor, right? So based on which parameters you are paying the amount, based on the automatic payment program. And in that automatic payment program, you will going to generate the file. And how you are sending all these files to the particular bank is very, very important. Through mail you are doing, or are you using the ALE? Are you using the iDocs? Okay, to send the information to the particular bank. See, those are the tools only, all of you. Okay, so it is just a tool to use all these informations and all. Okay, but the thing is that, so if they are not aware of the tools, I mean, if if the budget is not okay for the particular client and all, they will just use the organization mails. They will use their mails. Okay, suppose if it is a Tata, and if the Tata don't want to use the particular tools to exchange the information from organization to banks, they will just use the organization mails. Okay, we'll just use the organization mails to pass the information. Okay, what are the files that we generate? We will store it in the database. Okay, based on that thing only we can able to take out the databases things and all. And after that, they will just send the information to the particular vendor. Okay, how they will going to send the information to the particular vendor as well as the banks. Okay, so in the technical concept, okay, like a DME, data medium exchanges, you can able to get the you can able to get things. Okay, so this is the way you can able to tell the theory part to the interviewer. Okay, they will just ask you the theory part. They will just ask you the account determination. Okay, that is the very important thing. And most probably they will ask you the movement types. They will ask you the material types. They will ask you the valuation modifier, valuation grouping code, valuation area, and they will ask you the transaction keys. Okay, so based on the transaction keys only, you can able to enter the what I can say. You can able to enter the GL accounts, right? So that is when they will just focus on those things only. Okay, all of you.